Hey guys, so today we're going to explain why gear is used for ESSAs and why use ESSAs over different methods like an emotional support animal or service animals. So the main reason for gear on ESSAs is for individuality. So just to personalize your ESSA instead of making it look like every single stuffed animal that is factory made. We want to put some self-expression on it and make it look personal to us. And a lot of people will do that by putting collars on it or harnesses, leashes, bandanas, accessories, whatever you can think of. That is one of the main reasons why people put gear on the ESSAs. Another reason is to actually label them, because a lot of people do in fact come up and try to grab your ESSAs, pet them, and do all sorts of things with them. And obviously that's not the most comfortable thing, to have someone come up and grab your items and do whatnot with it. It wouldn't be comfortable just for someone to come up in your space like that. And a lot of people who have ESSAs have disorders like anxiety, PTSD, and stuff like that. And so having people come up to them can be very, very anxiety inducing. So there's a couple different vests that you can use to label your ESSAs. There's a lot of different methods. I like to use vests like these. So you can put ESSA on. So I have ESSA on the sides, just so it says that. And I have comfort bed on the top. I have right here my handle, code his name, and then ESSA on the sides. And oh, the other one fell down. This one right here says ESSA on the sides and comfort dog up top. So that is one way to label them. And you can also label them with like collars and stuff that would have labeling on them. What I have done is I've actually done candy and made bead things like this that you can just clip on to whatever they're wearing that says ESSA. I do that for a lot of my ESSAs that don't wear vests or any sort of identification, and I want them to have it. And that would be similar as to how you label your service animals with, say, a vest here. I have this vest from One Tigress that I use for my service dog. Not very often, but you would label your dog in a way as you don't want people coming up and talking to it. People do in fact talk to stuffed animals as if they're real animals. And it's kind of weird to have that happen every few minutes. So having something that says no talk, no petting, ignore me, stuff like that does actually help in some ways. Another amazing reason that people have gear on their ESSAs is so it can protect them. There's protective gear. So things like these, which are socks, help prevent their feet from getting dirty and stuff if you are choosing to walk them on the ground. Or for when it's wet outside, you can put raincoats on them, which I like to use this one. It's for an American Girl doll actually, but it fits my main ESSA great. And for service dogs, you would have the same purpose. This is a rain jacket by Arcadia Trail that I use for my service dog, and boots to protect his feet when it's hot and stop him from tracking in dirt or mud if it's rainy. And another reason to have gear on your ESSA is to have a way, have a point of contact to them, basically. So for a lot of people, they just use collars. I prefer to use just collars on most of my ESSAs. And you can also use harnesses that have handles on them. You could attach a leash to a harness. This is a step-in harness just from Walmart, and you can attach a leash to that. You can get handmade harnesses. Here's one that I've made that has a handle on it to hang on to them. Or you could make like cardboard ones with handles, or even get ones like this that you can put clips onto. And on top of that, it's super fun to dress things up for Halloween. For my service dog, for example, I have this little spider costume that I use for him for Halloween. And for my ESSAs, I have this one. The other wing is missing. It's a little bit broken, but this was Coda's costume for Halloween. It's a little bat one, and it's Halloween colors. And then we have this bandana that can really attach to any collar for Halloween. And we have this candy harness for Christmas. And you can really do any holiday you like. And you can just dress them up to fit the theme. A lot of people like to have special gear and fancy gear for their service animals or ESAs or therapy animals. And same goes for ESSAs. We like to put lots of fun, fancy gear on them just for fun, and also to kind of look like service dog gear. And why? Because a lot of us will take inspo from it. So this is a gear set that I had made for a service dog in training. And you see, it's just a simple straight front. And I also have ones that look just like that, but for ESSAs. And it isn't so we're pretending to mimic service animals or to pretend they can task or label them in certain ways. As you see, there is no Velcro. There's no way to label your ESSA. And the handle obviously can't serve any purpose because it's a stuffed animal. What is it going to do? And this is just to clip some fun accessories onto. Not to clip a leash onto, because these aren't meant to have leashes on them. That would be for that harness right there. And in this fun pile of stuff, we are going to talk about the gentle leaders and muzzles. So a lot of people will see ESSAs having these little things around their muzzle, like so. So it goes around their muzzle like this. Now, most of the time, this is meant to look like a muzzle. As you see, it just wraps on their mouth. And there are, in fact, some dog muzzles like this, although most go around their mouth, like a basket muzzle, just like this would be. Now, this, I personally like the way they look on certain dogs or certain stuffies. Not all ESSA owners choose to do that this way, but I personally just like the way it looks, and a lot of people do too. It's not to pretend that they're reactive. It's just to look fun. It doesn't actually serve a purpose. Now, there's also other things you will see put on their mouth. This one, for example, is meant to look like a gentle leader or a head halter. Now, here are two examples of that. So this one, that blue one I showed you, it goes around the back of the neck and then goes around their mouth, just like a gentle leader would on a real dog. Now, gentle leaders for real animals are just to have better control of your dog. It's a point of contact. It's a way you can have a connection with them and either correct them or guide them with that. I personally don't use these with my dog, but we did when we were teaching heel work, so he learned how to stay in the correct heel position. Now with ESSAs, and here's another example, just with beads, just goes around the back of the neck and then around the muzzle. With ESSAs, again, that is just for decoration and accessory. It's not actually serving any sort of purpose because the stuffed animal can't walk. And if you tried to add a clip to the bottom here, it would just flip them up like that and it would look quite strange. And a common misconception is that these are not muzzles right here. This is gentle leader. It does not cover his mouth. His mouth goes like to here. And it can go up and down to whatever size I need. Like, he can open his mouth. It's not a muzzle. Muzzles, on the other hand, this one he can still open his mouth in, but basically they can't eat too fast with it or eat things they're not supposed to, bite, bark, etc. And service dogs can, in fact, wear muzzles and should be muzzle trained. Even if your service dog does not wear a muzzle in public, it is still good for them to be muzzle trained. And muzzles aren't only for aggressive dogs. They're for many different reasons, whether a dog eats too fast or has a problem eating poop or grass or whatever. Muzzles are great for many different reasons, and actually there are a lot of service dogs that do in fact wear muzzles in public. And yes, muzzles are typically known for aggressive dogs, but they are nice to just kind of stick on your dog and go into public with, if you have a service dog obviously, go into public with a muzzle on it, because then a lot of people are just gonna be like, oh, your dog's aggressive, and they're not gonna touch it. Pretty good way to keep the public away, but it can cause people to try to stop you from entering their establishment and cause access issues, which really sucks. But they are very handy tools for a lot of different reasons. Now, why do people use ESSAs instead of service animals, therapy animals, ESAs, whatever? And that is typically because an ESSA is just a comfort stuffed animal. It cannot task nor provide any physical benefit to you. It can't actually do any actions to help you. But they still do help in a lot of different ways. And so they are amazing tools for people to use of all ages. Now, most people who use ESSAs are quite young and usually don't meet the criteria to get a service animal. And so, as an alternative, they will have an ESSA because it really does help. And most people looking for ESSAs could qualify for a psychiatric service animal, but in reality, psychiatric service animals aren't for everyone because it does in fact draw a lot of attention to you. And it is a huge commitment, and most psychiatric service animals and most service animals out in the public and for young people really should just be ESAs. Because a lot of people are just getting it almost as if to try and are just like, okay, well, I just gotta stick with this. They're not actually getting it out of pure necessity, which is what they are. Now, ESSAs, on the other hand, they are very, very cheap compared to a service animal. Some people don't have the space or the need for a service animal, and they just want something to comfort them sometimes. Or they have allergies, and they don't have the money for a service animal, because they are very expensive to train or get a pre-trained one, and their animals, their vet bills are very expensive. Their food is very expensive. They're creatures that are going to cost money the rest of your life. A stuffed animal is a one-time purchase that lasts you until it falls apart pretty much. Now, ESAs, on the other hand, sure, people with a ESSA could get an ESA, but they have to qualify for it because there are qualifications that you need for an ESA. You have to have a doctor's note stating that your disability requires an emotional support animal and that this animal provides that benefit to you. And even if they do qualify for that, and even if they do have an ESA, the ESAs cannot go everywhere. They can only go into pet-friendly establishments, which can be really hindering to a lot of people. And so they found another tool, like an ESSA or any other comfort item, to help them when they go to non-pet friendly places. And now with therapy animals, those aren't for one specific person, those are for the general public. They go into places where they have been allowed, and they aren't trained to help mitigate one person's disability. They are trained to help comfort a generalized group of people, like say in a hospital or a school. Those are some of the main reasons why people choose ESSAs over real animals like service animals or ESAs, because in reality it's a lot of work to take care of an animal, and a lot of people just aren't ready for it, or they have allergies. It's costly. There's so many factors, and in reality it's just so much easier to go with a stuffed animal, and if it helps you, then it's great. I also want to mention something that a lot of people seem to miss with ESSAs, is that they are super, super helpful with not only anxiety, depression, or PTSD and other psychiatric conditions. They are extremely helpful with dementia, and so it's not only for a specific age group. It's not only for children to find comfort in, or for teens who struggle with anxiety. It's for a huge, huge spectrum of people, for anyone who needs it. It can help with, say, when you're sad, or when you're anxious. It could just be cheering you up sometimes, or calming down your anger issues, or it could take your mind off of something scary happening in your life. And they're a huge, huge help with dementia patients, actually. And as we know, dementia does not happen when you're young. That is typically something that is going to happen once you've gotten older. They're very helpful for dementia patients, just as reborns are, because it gives them a sense of purpose. They can take care of something, feed it, and walk it, and they are so helpful. That can also help people with depression or autism who need to find that sense of purpose for themselves. But that was really all the video. I hope that I explained some things, and why are you laying down? I hope that explains some things. I have a lot of gear up because I was trying to like compare and contrast. Didn't exactly do it in the way I was hoping because it's kind of cold out and the lighting is not great inside. But yeah, I have literally everything in opposites. We've got harnesses, like different types of harnesses actually. We've got muzzles, a gentle leader, and collars, and leashes, harnesses, vests, costumes, all sorts of things. Even got bandanas. We got pink bandana and Halloween bandana somewhere. It flew away in the wind. It's very windy out. I do hope this video helped you guys to explain some things more, because a lot of people have been very confused by this, and I just kind of been delaying on a video, so I really do hope that helped. And if you have any other questions, feel free to comment them below, and I will answer them all. But yeah, thanks for watching. Bye. As I was cleaning up, I realized I missed something. Gear isn't only just harnesses or collars or whatever. Gear has many different forms. It could be a leash, a harness, a collar, just accessories or like protective gear, and even fidgets. Fidgets can be a form of gear for ESSAs. So some of my gear, like this, is kind of random, but it is in fact a gear. These are fidgets. There's gear to help handlers. Some specific gear is to help the ESSA owners, and that would be things like fidgets, or say pockets that carry medication or whatever. Gear can be things like that. So I have fidgets here that I clip onto my ESSA harnesses or collars or whatever's on them, and this one right here I always keep hooked onto the leash, and so it's just kind of a fidget I like to play with, which helps me during anxiety or panic attacks or whatever. Very helpful. And gear is also things like this. Just this little necklace that says Lunar's name. That's a form of gear. A bracelet that says Hazel's name. And just cute little accessories like a star. And this says baby. It was a pacifier clip that I found in my neighbor's yard. But it kind of works as a little handle if you clip it on properly. So yeah, gear can be anything. Literally anything you want.